Great. So my name is Clive Grinyer. I'm the Head of Service Design at the RCA. And this is my first year as Head of Design. For those of you who don't know much about the Service Design course, this is its 7th cohort of students. It's been going about 9 years. Started by Nick de Leon, and since then it's become a pioneering force right across the industry, producing a cohort of students each year who have gone on to transform the world, the organizations they work for. So now we have 140 students across 2 years of our master's course. They combine, excuse me, human-centric design, system thinking, creativity to bring new ideas, and in my mind, it's an antidote to technology push and the poor services that can create accidental experiences. We're creating innovative, new, positive ways to engage with technology, help organizations, systems and processes be better. My first day and the arrival of the first year here mixed in with some second years shows you the incredible diversity both of international students and national students from the Americas through to Far East in China and Korea and Japan, and also the diversity of backgrounds from architecture, from digital design disciplines, from product design, and from social sciences, business management, social entrepreneurs. An incredibly diverse course. Now, of course, we mostly see each other on Zoom meetings as we are now. These are the students on the final day of their exams, where we could proudly announce that everyone had done it, we'd all passed, and they can go and join the wide world. And that's what this celebration, this Festival of Better Ideas, is all about, celebrating each day a cohort of students around different themes. It has been, of course, an incredible year, completely blown apart really by our pandemic, but the students have responded magnificently, is the only word I can use. They've showed resilience, they've showed courage, they've mastered the digital tools of the Miro and Mural whiteboard, they've reached out to communities on social media, and they've carried on being creative, researching, creating prototypes and validating those prototypes, almost as if nothing had happened. And they've also continued to deal with the big issues that we've always been dealing with: the impact of technology. How do we support disrupted businesses, whether it's across telecoms or automotive or healthcare? How do we work with communities and support them? How do they help us work, stay healthy, and look after the planet? This is a really special year. These are really special students, and this is their moment to make an impact on the world. We have a Royal College of Art and RCA website, RCA 2020, which is a magnificent collection of over 800 students' work. And on that, you can see the work of the students in service design, of course. If you hunt through the menu, you'll find the School of Design. In the School of Design, you'll find service design. You're also, hello?
Clive, your presentation isn't actually changing at the moment.
Thank you for that. That's a bit weird.
It is now.
Yes. When I go to, thank you for telling me that. I'll just pop back to the, I'm going to, yeah. How weird. I've got a window here saying sharing is paused. I'm going to, I'm just going to pop out of this, and if you bear with me, everybody, I'll try and solve it. I might need to quit Keynote and come back in, see if that helps. Okay, bear with me. Sorry, Martin, stay patient. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. You probably wondered whether you were still looking at the same slide, didn't you? Okay, this is giving me the green light now. So is that changing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. There's the students. There's the Zoom. And here's the 2020 website, which is where I was, I think, and I was describing the website. Now you'll notice here that there's some repetition of students because the website didn't cope with the fact that we work as teams. So a lot of the projects you'll see are some are single people, some are duos, some are in pairs. So you might see the same project in a couple of places, but don't worry. What you're looking at there is the page for individual students. We also have our own website, which started off as an archive, but we've repurposed to show our projects as projects. And of course, continue as an archive and also provide some extra functionality so that you can use the Calendary function and also the Zoom function. And we'll show you more about that at the end, where you can you can subscribe to a secret page that will take you directly to the Zoom rooms of the students, should you want to talk to them at any time. That's as close as we can get to having a physical show. Our own website covers different themes. We have 6 different themes. And with 33 students, it's really impossible to show them all at once, which is why we've divided these events up into themes. And today we'll be looking at the financial services side of it. I'm going to very quickly run through all the projects. So take notes if there's any project there that you really want to see more of. And we can put you in touch with that student, or you can use the secret Zoom page to find out more. The first theme we call human conditions, and it's a catch-all really for society and culture. The first project you'll see is from Beatrice Mandelstadt and Jess Stein, and it's called Ray, and it's a speculative design approach around deep research into sleep, done with IKEA's product design team. It's an absolutely fascinating project. I encourage you to have a look at all of these projects. Every single one is an amazing story, and we've had incredible feedback. Second project from Rosa Fernandez, Is This Love? Is a safe platform for people in emotionally abusive relationships. Cami Shah created Heart to Heart, working with the V&A to use museums as environments for therapeutic environments. And in her case, she's used that to help relationships. Across Silos by Emilia Dorazio and Soumya Singhal is working with local authority Barking and Dagenham to join up services, practitioners and local authorities and work across silos. DOT uses data science and is a platform for personal activities for kids, for hassled parents in holiday times. And Bump Into by Kiyohiro Izumo is a music platform for early stage musicians to support music innovation. UNU has created Everyone, a toolkit for children with special needs for classrooms and teachers. And Nurture by Radhika Agrawal and Fangu Song empowers citizens in conjunction with Camden Council, empowers senior citizens to engage with their communities and promote intergenerational engagement. And finally, in this category, we have Next, which is a team of 4 students, Chao Dai, Kun Tian, Hutang Li, and Yushan Zai. And it's an audio chat room which connects students who want to study abroad with those who are already studying abroad. And it's one of the social media hits of the college so far, with nearly 100,000 followers on TikTok. Second category, climate choice. We have 5 students. Climate choice is an important aspect to our students, as you would expect. And the first project from Cristina Mogolon Garcia is Anulu, working with consumers and the fashion industry to change consumer behavior towards sustainable fashion. Yuxan Li, or Mimi Li, has created an avatar cat called Mimi, who walks around Shanghai in a virtual sense, identifying environmentally sustainable businesses and allowing customers to go and patronize them. Birdie by Constance Chung is about appreciating our neighborhoods, appreciating the environment. And based on childhood walks with her father, she's created an enchanting service to help people get back in touch with nature. And a joint project from our Work in Progress show with Ruton, Constance and Rosa was sharing knowledge about food waste, how to make products from food waste. And Rosa's own project in the final show is Climate 101, where she has the ambition to put content about climate change into every university course in the country and beyond. She worked with Imperial and then later with Westminster and Delft, and has a website where English professors or history professors, as well as engineering and science professors, can aggregate their content and find content to deliver education on climate change in every course. And finally, Mik-Tieng Shin and Hwanju Kim created Suplin, another fashion project looking at the sustainability of the supply chain, transparent, sustainable supply chain. We are going to be looking at new money. These are the 5 projects we're going to go to in depth. I don't need to tell you about them now. The next set of projects which we focused on last night was urban living. And we have Astrid Joffrey and Francesco Cagnola with their project on London's land bank, looking at unloved plots of land and how to turn them into food production. We have Helen Benz and Shamin looking at MIDAR, digital assistant that helps you understand how your data is used and make choices about who are the good and bad users of your data. Jason Park and Zujiban Susul Kalanthan have created Urban Moments with Visa, which is promoting people walking to work and taking alternative choices and also rewarding that behavior with access to local businesses. Kieran Dooley created Common Ground in partnership with the London Fire Brigade, and it's about apartment block being ready for fire in apartment block buildings. And Knock Knock by Irene Liao and Amog Lux is a collaboration with WHG Housing Group, building stronger communities from social opportunities. And Graham's Guide to Digital Being by Andrew Sito is a speculative project, a movement perhaps for digital mindfulness. How can we be better digital citizens? We have 2 projects in future skills, looking at the future of work. Nyan Lucci Lee and Rong Hui have created Meta in collaboration with ThoughtWorks, the technology consultancy, about shared stories, future thinking for organizations and consultancies. And Cecilia Santuccio has created Disrupting Culture Powerhouse, which is about using arts and cultural centers to create training programs for big corporates to support them with diversity, with empathy for their customers and their own employees, and also provide sustainable income for those arts organizations. And finally, we have Living Well, which we'll be focusing on tomorrow night. We have Tarek Helmi, whose project looks after the carers of dementia patients. Care Panion by Shuning Wang and Sally Zhu also looks after carers for end-of-life carers. We have Gina Kim and Haijin Lee with Talk and Brew, Stress and Loneliness, Cured by Tea. If you remember their Work in Progress show, which was in fact a vending machine, they now created a digital version of that. Pina Pipoppen and Alessandro Peon created Household Health, creating safe environments in flat shares in a time of pandemic. And Agata Juskovic created Nutrition in collaboration with CERN, which she was a prize winner of, their Grand Challenge competition around healthy eating. So there you have all the projects that are there. Let me see if I can turn my video back on. Can I do that? Yes, good. Don't know where that went off. So welcome to Amazing Projects, and now we focus on our financial projects. But before we do that, I'd like to ask Martin to take the screen. I will stop sharing if I can. There you go. And Martin, wherever you are you able to, did your laptop die or are you still there? There you are. Fantastic.
My computer died, but my iPad came to the rescue. So
luckily, I kept talking whilst all that happened. So.
I feel like I was in the middle of the new Apple advert, actually. So it was great.
Thank you. Great. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. Over to you, and we'll be showing the student work straight after that.
Super, great. So thank you very much for asking me to come and open this evening's part of the show. Clive asked me to just come and share some of my thoughts on new money. And I have no slides. This is some semi-organised thoughts based on my experience of 20 years working in design now, a great majority of that working in banking for my sins, but definitely always with large organisations. And I think I found my way through to an understanding of the value and the power and the impact that design can have and should have within large organisations, and a kind of purpose for that through my career. It's only really been in the last 3 or 4 years that I've been happy to call myself a banker, as opposed to telling everybody the designer or the researcher or the customer experience person I was, no matter where I worked. And one of the reasons for that, I think, is that the mission and the purpose of what we are doing at Lloyds Banking Group has really resonated with me, as it kind of nurtured my design soul, as it were. And that might be surprising for some to hear about somebody in financial services. The mission of Lloyds Banking Group is to help Britain prosper. And as a design team, we were faced with this challenge of working out, what does prosperity mean to the normal person on the street, not the person reading a Jane Austen novel? It's not a word that we use a lot generally, although I'm hearing it over the last 2 years a lot more in the words of politicians and social commentators, this idea of prosperity. And we did a lot of work as a design and research team to try and understand what people across the UK, in every walk of life, think that this idea of prosperity for themselves and for the nation means. And it was a really interesting journey to uncover this story of a deep connection between people's financial health, their mental health, their physical health, a sense that prosperity was about people's individual ability to feel confident and in control about the decisions that they could make now and in the future. And when we combined these two perspectives together, it became something that was, really very important to think about from a design lens. It became something that design and designers can have a huge impact on influencing. At the same time, I've noticed other commentators talking about related aspects at a kind of society level. The Royal Society of Arts have expressed that over the coming years, they are going to be focusing on this concept of economic insecurity as a rising issue, even before COVID for the UK. This sense that actually 1/3 of the people in the UK have less than £1,500 in savings, that even 1/3 of the people in the top 2 income brackets in the UK do not feel financially secure about their future. What it's going to take for us to be able to help each other, help society with these issues about our sense of financial control, our sense of prosperity, our sense of economic security, is a lot of probably an element of behavioural change, but also an element of societal change and focus. And there have been some really great moves forward in the financial services industry about actually opening up for great competition in services and products that can be offered to people. The rise of fintech has been a really great thing to really challenge what it means to provide financial services to the world, and specifically to the UK that we're talking about here. And And one of the things that I think is interesting about, for example, open banking, is that it is about a leveling of the playing field of where the data that so many new services and products are kind of fueled by can be shared. It's opening up a marketplace in which totally new ways of serving customers and understanding their needs, understanding their situations, and providing them with help and value can be opened up. In one way, it can be talked about as an ability for people to have choice and more control, which, if we think back to those definitions of economic insecurity and that understanding that we had from the people that we talked to about prosperity, choice, confidence, and control became really important. So what are the forces at play in this kind of new world of new money going forward? There's a rise that's very easy to talk about, very easy to kind of pithily say about digital and the speed with which technology is advancing, giving us great new opportunities to do lots of different things. The rise of consumerism, which is our own behavior as human beings, the way that we satiate our needs and desires, and the forces of data and what that is allowing people and organizations to do at ever more rapid speed, driving business models to meet consumer demands that are being elevated by the extent to which digital can move things forward. But it's interesting to watch how maladapted as human beings we are to the rate of that change, I think. So there's kind of two rates of change going on. There's that really rapid change in our behavior now, driven by being able to get more and more and more of what we want, more and more instantly. And that really ticks off a certain part of our brain. And we feel really great in the short term as we go through those things. But we're also missing another order of change that is, for society and for our planet, also very rapid, but in the context of our lifetimes as individuals, quite slow. And that is the perception of ecological change that is going on. So it's fast when you think about a kind of society and planet level, but for us as individuals, it's quite slow. And all of these things are playing out against a background in which the very advantages that we're seeing from digital, from some of the ways in which our consumerism is evolving and data is allowing us to develop new things, we're also seeing a rise in inequalities because of disparities in society, both around financial and security and also access to technology. And that is leading to representation within our society not being diverse enough, both inside organizations, both inside our society in terms of who has access to what. So these are some really interesting forces that are at play, and it's not just about financial services in which these things are in play, it's at a societal level. But the reason why I focus on them is because actually that link between our financial lives, our mental lives, and our physical lives is really quite stark, actually, where you cannot understand one without the other. They all have stresses and pulls and plays on each other. And why am I even talking about this? So I was talking about people's ability to have choice and control, that is the prosperity that people are seeking for, really fundamentally. When you really ask people and get rid of all the kind of the fluff and what new shiny thing would you like, when you ask people what you really, really want, it is that sense of choice and control over your future. So we have some choices ahead, I think, as a society, to look at whether we apply our decisions that we make, which is a form of design, at a societal level, and whether we decide to look at some of the ways in which we're doing things very, very differently. And I'm seeing already the emergence of different thinking in that sense. The Business Roundtable of America have already stated that the purpose of a company is not just the unlocking of value for shareholders, but it's also value for customers, it's an investment in employees, it's dealing fairly and ethically with suppliers, it's supporting communities and creating long-term value for shareholders, who are the investment vehicle behind which growth can happen for a company. And then there's also the climate emergency, which is actually showing us that although we don't perceive it as changing that quickly in terms of the planet, things are changing very, very rapidly. So there are choices ahead for us, and choices are decisions, and decisions are really a fundamental part of how we as design can have impact to bring that human understanding of what's really driving us as individuals, how we behave, and how we can build that into the decisions that we make within organisations, within society, to be able to design a better place for us all to be together. And how does that link to what we're talking about today and the work of these awesome students? Well, we need to place the services that we're designing, I think, in the context of a number of different life cycle models. That individual life moments for us, that shows us the ebb and flow of our mental and physical and financial health as we go through various events in life. The ebb and flow of a community within which we are operating and how we are as social beings with each other. And then the prosperity of a nation, with a view to really being able to build an inclusive and sustainable future. And these projects that you're going to see tonight, therefore, represent everything from an early stage education of positive financial behaviour that we can get in, that behavioural change at a really early stage, where it can be there ready for people's lives, all the way through to the in-life moments of vulnerability through mental health, up to the responsibility of the privileged few who can utilise their capital for intergenerational investment. It is this placing of service design within a wider systems context that gives me hope for a prosperous future, one in which design has a really important role to play in enabling us to make responsible, sustainable decisions to be good ancestors for our future prosperity. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing more about each of these projects in the theme of new money, who are going to be contributing to that thinking and challenging and stretching each of us. So thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Schoolboy error. I just want to thank you very, very much for your inspirational words. And also point out to everyone, you've been a fantastic friend of the course. Thank you very much. And thank you for doing your homework on the projects we're going to be showing in a moment. I massively appreciate that. I know the students will as well. I think Martin's brought great wisdom, especially around research and the approach of design. So thank you for that, Martin. We'll hopefully be working with you a lot more in the future. And thank you also to Lloyds Bank Group, who for 2 years now have run fantastic projects with us. We're very grateful for that. And I think it's one of the things that makes the college special, the amazing partnerships we have. So let me share my screen very briefly, actually, because we're going to go to the first project. And hopefully you can see my screen now. And hopefully it will change. But thanks again to you, Martin. I hope you enjoy the projects and do hang around. We'd love to come back and have a bit of a panel with you and the students afterwards, if that's okay. Thanks very much. Great, thank you. So we're going to be looking at these 6 projects. We have the Lab Y with Zhao Tian Li and Runa Yu. Now they are very far away. Sorry, my video keeps going off. Can someone turn my video? Oh, there we go. They are very far away, and therefore they're going first because it's 1 in the morning or worse where they are. This is one of the problems we have with COVID, where everyone's gone to the various parts of the world. So they're going to go first and then go to bed or go to a nightclub. And then we'll have Evergreen with Kyle, Money Buddy with Tina Chu, Mabius with Ginny and Jade, Evergreen. Oh no, we're not having him twice. That's a cut and paste error. And then Purchase Power with Tammy, Shan Chang, and Bin Hai. So I really hope you enjoy these projects. But let's get straight on with the Lab Y with Zhao Tian Li and Runa Yu. Oh, hi. Sorry, we've still got this problem with the slides. Bear with me. Let's try this. There you go. That's your slide. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Off you go. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. So, hi everyone, this is the team, the Lab Y. Glad to be the first team to share the project. I'm Giselle, and this is my teammate, Runa. So, next slide. So let me first summarize our key research insights about financial education environment in China and the growth journey of the Chinese kids and the service is designed under Chinese environment. There are 3 points I would like to share with you. The first, even the data shows that the most of young adults are worried about money. The financial education penetration rate in China is still below 8% for the kids and teenagers. Secondly, the consumption habits changing through the time when the kids grow up. And during the junior school period, they're experiencing a transition time that from passive to initiative. And thirdly, for the age before 10 for the kids, it is a critical timing for habit forming and value recognition. Overall, we choose the age group 5 to 12 years old kids as our key target users and decided to design the service for them. Next slide. We have carefully designed the persona for both kids and the parents after we have done tons of interviews. So So let me introduce you our persona Joyce, the kids, a 9-year-old girl. This is one quotation from Joyce saying that I don't want and need to manage my money as I don't have to pay for anything. For Joyce, she can have everything she wants immediately as she is the treasure of the family. Also, the induced products in the market, such as blind boxes and virtual games, they're driving Joyce to form bad consumption habits, such as like impulsive consumption. For Joyce's parents, it's also their first time to become parents. They're also learning and exploring while they're busy working and struggling with finding the best way to educate Joyce. And the circle in the middle represents the annual life cycle for the kids. We have labeled all the trigger points around the year and designed our services based on those scenarios. Next slide. And to solve the problems for our persona, Joyce and her parents, we come up with the how might we help 5 to 12 years old kids build good money relationship and become independent by developing an immersive platform that can provide simulated experience and coaching, at the same time reduce parents' stress and concern. For this project, so far we have done 2 services with more than 330 participants. We interviewed more than 20 people, including parents, kids, teachers, bankers, and education experts. We have launched 2 prototype tests and 1 co-creation workshop. Now, let me show you what we have designed. Yeah, next slide. And Runa.
So from the service architecture, you can see our service ecosystem, which includes our the LabY interactive book sets, our mini app, media channel, and our online and offline workshop. Users can access our service via multiple channels and enjoy 4 of the service with these 4 modules. We categorize kids' daily activity and the actions into 3 parts, and within the content, we focus on evaluate kids' growth from 5 perspectives as communication, money perception, emotion management, problem-solving skill, and the safety awareness. And based on the skills, our book sets are designed under 3 categories, which is Home Alone series, Little Banker series, and Little Explorer series. We believe that financial knowledge is best taught by problem-based learning. Based on daily scenarios, kids can look at money more in a more tangible way. And the interactive experience can mimic their real-life challenge, which allows kids to make their own decision. Next slide. Okay, so now let me introduce you the service journey. In general, our service format is a personalized subscription box. Parents can subscribe our product in seasonal pack or yearly pack. In the very beginning step, the first step, we will lead the parents to join to our mini app and help parents to set up learning goal for their kids and choose the best best fit book set for them. The way to all our book sets are carefully designed based on behavior change theory. We see the reading process more like a gaming process, and the experience should not only in the book, but also immersive in kids' real life. One book set will contain an interactive picture book, mission cards, parents' guide, and some creative tools. Each book set is designed with one specific scenario, such as my first birthday party. It will guide kids to solve the problem step by step. After the kids complete the experience, parents can go up onto the mini app again and share their story. Also, at the same time, the platform will record the set as mission complete. Then the kids will looking forward to have their next monthly picture book box coming. So this is the Lab Y. We focus on financial education for early age kids because we believe a good money habit will last lifelong. Now we're still working on the project. We're closely working with our new member, illustrator, and creating our first picture book set. And yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I must apologize for the technical difficulties we're having. My Keynote got upgraded last night and it appears to have a bug. So we'll carry on. I'll try and fix it. Now, Kyle, you're going to share your screen. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
That'll be great. I'll try and fix my Keynote while you're presenting. So take your time. Okay. Thanks very much, by the way, Giselle. Go to bed. Thank you. That was a lovely presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clive.
Cool. Can you all see that clearly?
We can. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So obviously there is the climate crisis there, and we're now in the stage where we are in a climate emergency, as most of you have heard. It's like a drum that's beating over and over again. On the 22nd of June, 2020, the Arctic circles saw the highest recorded temperatures in history. So what do we do about this? Well, when we start looking a little bit more, we tend to think, is it the action of the masses that can change things, or is it the systems that are designed to benefit the few? Today, obviously, is focused quite heavily around the financial system. And in 2019, the IPCC, which is this big group of climate experts, recommended a shift towards long-term low-emission assets. So what does that mean? It means stop funding bad companies and start funding good ones. But the issue around this is that investment managers, particularly in big things like pension funds and publicly traded companies, are incentivized to get the highest return on investments, and a lot of the time sustainability tends to be an afterthought. So how they tend to value things is based on this traditional idea of an internal rate of return. It's complicated, and believe me, it's more of an art than a science. But policy and society at large are demanding that businesses take their foot off the gas and demand this idea of environment being a stakeholder. So investment managers begin to grapple with this idea of, well, what are sustainable companies and how do we find them? And particularly for those of us grappling in what the economic recovery will look like, we see the dangers of this high growth capitalism. And we begin to look at 2020 potentially as a unique opportunity to build back better and greener. So looking at this through a human-centered lens and speaking to everyone across the sustainable investment ecosystem, I began speaking to people like this impact investor who sort of suggested, if you're wanting to make a difference in a system, look at the flow as upstream as possible and design a solution for those who have the most influence within the system. So who have the most influence? What's the 1%, as we know them, these ultra high net worth individuals? And they tend to have around a net worth of 50 million pounds, and there's only around 227,000 people out there that are like this. But they hold up to about a third of the world's wealth, which is crazy. So the thing with them is they don't have to worry about getting the highest return for their shareholders. They are the shareholders. So where they decide to inject their capital, they have this agile capital that can make fast and measurable impact. And the interesting thing in terms of timing is that there's this huge transfer of wealth, which is happening to the next generation. And they want sustainability, they want clean energy. And they want to sort of direct at least 32% of their portfolios towards companies which are good for the planet. But who are they? Well, I'm fortunate enough to have kind of worked in that world within private wealth and managing family offices. And you get to meet people like Gianni, who's a purpose seeker. He's trying to find his meaning and purpose in life. But ultimately, he knows sustainability is a hot topic. He doesn't really know what he doesn't know about it. If we look at people like Dahlia, she's more of an impact activist. She wants to make a difference. She understands that, you know, reputation is everything in her world. And she also knows it's a very small world at the top. Then you look at the likes of Omar. He's a tech billionaire, and the same sort of thing. He wants to start measuring his impact, but he finds it increasingly difficult to do so. And then there's the people at the bottom of this system, the actual startup founders themselves, the people who are developing companies which can potentially change the world. How do you integrate the impact that they are making into your financial decisions? So synthesizing these pain points a little bit, we begin to see that there's a lack of skills. There's kind of this lack of purpose beyond wealth preservation and growth. How do you measure, what impact is? How do you look beyond just, wealth growth and preservation? And ultimately, where do you go out and find genuinely green deals? So when we look at the next section is how might I incentivize the next generation of investors to reallocate their capital towards sustainable companies? So how can we make sustainability sexy? So Evergreen is a private venture club tackling climate opportunities with the tagline of investing in a visible opportunity, investing in a visible legacy. Some of the principles that were used, it needs to be supportive, it needs to be informative, it needs to be collective, it needs to be systemic, it needs to be expert, but ultimately it needs to be private because this is what this world functions like. When we look at the service architecture, it starts with this idea of purpose orientation. You need to give them an objective to work towards. Next, you need to technically empower them. You need to make them able to do this. We then look at how to network these experiences so that they are influenced by their peers. And finally, you need to give them a reward, some type of affirmation, and whether that's public, personal, or financial. So what does it take to join this club? Well, you need to be an ultra high net worth. You need to be willing and show some type of track record. You need to be referred by friends so that you are vetted through this process. And then you're invited to interview. You go through a journey where you get to discover what this world is about. You are interviewed. You are invited to commit by joining, connecting, and finally impacting through investments and become an advocate for change. So the service has 4 features. It has e-visory, it has a deal hub, and then it has 2 people-focused features, which are peers and impact. So if we look at e-visory, it's this idea of on-demand expert advisory, because the world of sustainable finance is highly complex. So what that means is that you need sort of multidisciplinary input, whether that's from financial experts, environmental experts, or technology experts. So the idea is to have this at the touch of a button, but at the same point also have dispersed global certified experts who buy into the system and ultimately are able to advise their clients. Next, we look at the core of the system, which is this idea of a deal hub. Increasingly, we are a digital world when it comes to finance, as we all know. At the very core is a private, sustainable investment ecosystem, which is focused on market opportunities. So how does this work? Well, curated deals are popped through, which make it easier for you to be able to source and find these things. You then are going into the space where you're able to measure the impact you're making and able to share how your deal actually functions. So ultimately, it's this ecosystem where you're bringing together the likes of these ventures, startups, researchers, talent. You get them to disclose performance and share information. And at the same point, you're getting them to meet the investors of this world, the family offices, these venture capital firms, private equity, etc. And valuation would be different. Valuation would not just be based on this idea of internal rate of return, but potentially environmental rate of return. So that would be a compound or hybrid metric. So the soft offline experiences which drive behavior are these idea of community and peers, because these individuals act in groups. They're small, they're selective. So how this function works is it's a community of like-minded peer-to-peer groups that are worked in local financial hubs all around the world with regular global summits. And then also this idea of introduction. So this idea of introduction and increasing deal flow a lot of the time is focused on how to introduce these individuals potentially to mission-driven founders so they can be actively involved in creating a visible legacy. So what are the required commitments? Well, it functions much like a traditional venture capital fund, but with some extra added bonuses like PR and bespoke advisory. So validation, working with impact investors, pitching to venture capital firms, also did a sandbox, which was super fun, getting a bunch of startup founders together and getting them to work out what does it mean to be an environmental company, as well as environmentalists. So there was this cross-pollination. And then had an ultra high net worth, sort of starting to ask investment advice from an earth scientist. An ultra high net worth individual was very positive about the service. They loved the fact that it was digital and it was global and loved the community aspect. We had a sustainable finance expert, ex-Goldman Sachs, who definitely thought that it solved a lot of the deal flow around green ventures. And then finally, family office advisors that were very keen on this idea. And there's also a venture capital firm which is potentially interested in the Deal Hub, which I'm happy to discuss in my Zoom room later. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Thank you very much for showing us Evergreen. Now we're going to keep going. So we've got some time for a chat at the end. And I'm going to share my screen again. And let's go with our next project, which is from Tina. And is called Money Buddy. Hi, Tina. How are you?
Hi, good. Hi.
And you're just outside the Royal College of Art, I see. That's fantastic. There it is. Haven't seen it for a while. Great. Okay. Thank you, Tina. Over to you.
Okay. First, thanks, Martin, for the link course. Hello, everyone. My name is Richie, but you can call me Tina. I'm a service designer with background of engineering. And this project came from the brief sponsored by Barclays from DNAD. And we explored how digital service design can help customers who suffer from different degrees of mental health. Next slide, please. Yeah. So what happened to the customers? On the micro level, the statistics tells us that people with mental health difficulties are more likely to be in debt problems. And there are 1.5 million of people in the UK experience mental health difficulties. It's a problem that might happen to everyone. So I look for a more inclusive solution rather than focusing on one single demographic. Next slide, please. And this project is professional research. I have interviewed stakeholders like principal clinical psychologists, support workers, and also expert by experience. From the research, we knew that the customer who experience mental health problem is hard to think logically and pay attention. The experience is continuous, and the degrees of mental health could become good or become bad. And it's really difficult for them to speak to Ben if you are feeling anxious and ashamed. Also, there's a little communication between mental health and financial service that people can drop between them. Next slide, please. To summarize, we identified that as a high street bank, there is an interaction issue on their customers' mental health journey. Next slide, please. So how might we redesign the customer interaction in the high street banking to provide end-to-end support on customer mental health journey? To achieve this, we keep asking two big questions, like how can high street bank better shape the service to support the changing scenarios? And how can banking service identify the support boundaries without disempower vulnerable customers? Next slide, please. Next slide, thank you.
Wow.
It's had animation. I need to click.
Sorry, Tina, is it, it's an animation, right?
Yeah, animation.
Yeah.
And maybe there's animation.
There you go.
Yeah, we found out two opportunities. One is from the mental health support journey to provide different level of support. We categorize the customers by their behavior and mental health support stages, which are self-support stage and professional support stage. And the other one is intervention from the mental health support to be related to financial service that the high street bank can provide. So let me show you the video. Next slide, please.
Meet Olivia. She's 28 years old, and like many of us, she struggles with anxiety. Her emotions are a bit like a roller coaster. She spends a lot of money online shopping to cheer herself up, but afterwards feels regret. Her finances are a mess, but she's afraid to communicate about her challenges with anxiety with the bank. Olivia is on a long waiting list for professional mental health support and wants to find other resources. One day, she receives a message from her bank about Money Buddy. Money Buddy is a new banking service integrated within her current banking app. Money Buddy groups customers based on their behaviors and mental health support stage. It also has two additional modes with extra features called SOAR mode and Nest mode. We empower customers to reorganize their own financial priorities by allowing customers to select the interaction mode that is best suited to their circumstances. Olivia wants to address the challenges by herself first, so she selects the SOAR mode to stay motivated. Running missions reduce her stress, and she can take the financial quiz to collect points for her credit score. One day, she sees that some of the content is related to some of her personal concerns. She reads through the information about money and mental health and understands what might happen to her, as well as what the bank can offer and what she can do next. Olivia finally receives medical advice. During her mental health support sessions, Olivia learns that she needs to gain more control over her spending behaviours to pay off her debt. Her mental health support worker suggests that she takes the financial assessment within the Nest mode. Nest mode can help Olivia by preventing overspending. After completing the survey about her personality, spending behaviours, goals and current debt, she receives a special code for the Nest mode page. It creates a customised dashboard based on Olivia's goals. The dashboard will remind Olivia about her payback plan, and she also receives a warm welcome message from the bank's Money Buddy team. When stress spending occurs, the system extends the verification time needed for the purchase. This gives Olivia an opportunity to cool off and review her actions. She decides to cancel the purchase so that she can continue to meet her goals. By receiving both financial and mental health support at the same time, Olivia feels much better and believes that she can take better control of her life. After achieving her goals, Olivia switches back to the normal mode within the app. Here is Money Buddy, a digital banking service that helps you and your finances.
Next slide, please. So it's Money Buddy. We aim to help customers sorting out against a strong wind and protect their money like a nest for eagles who will fly soon again. And I can cover all the detail in 6 minutes. So if you love to learn more about the detail, please join my Zoom and let's have a chat about this. Thank you. I will put a link in the chat room. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much. Let's see if I can go to the next slide without playing the movie again. Yes, I can. Great. Fantastic. So we have 2 more projects to go. And I'd like to ask Ginny and Jade to come into the room, onto the stage. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Clive.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, I shall start driving your slides and over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Ginny, and Jade, my project partner, is here as well. So I'm going to quickly tell you about the project background to understand better, and we'll show the video at the end. So we work in a partnership with a private bank to help their marketing team to increase client engagement, especially the next generation of ultra net worth individuals. The private bank we work with recognize the word of wealth is changing. Briefly, the main goal of this project is to enable the private bank to provide the client with the right information at the right time through the right channels. So the Mobius, which is a digital platform, is focusing on intergenerational relevance within the family to personal control over their wealth management. so giving users a complete picture of what's going on, current position, etc. Next slide, please. Yeah. The private bank is questioning that there is a huge intergenerational transfer of wealth and wants to know how to attract not only this next generation of them, but to serve them and generations to come. A new generation ultra net worth individuals are emerging with very different personality trait to the previous generations. There is a very clear generational difference from a client base that is extraordinarily discrete to one that is more open and accessible. They have totally different personalities and want to be served differently or specially. For instance, they are better educated, want more out of life, and digitally savvy. Next slide, please.
Okay, so now let's turn to the private bank. For the private bank, they are facing the challenges from the two aspects. Firstly is attracting new clients, and secondly is maintaining the successors of the current clients. So in practice, for the client's origination, private bank spends a lot of money, time, resources for trying to get the clients to get it over the line when as the client's journey starts much earlier than the private bank. And however, there is massive drop-off of the clients on the onboarding phase. So making the prospecting efforts, and also there will be a considerable wealth transfer will happening to the young generation. From the interviewing, we notice that there is a significant trend that the successors are more likely to change the bank while they're taking over the family wealth. So next page, please. Okay, so let's have a look of our video and meet James.
The world of private banking is changing as the next generation of high net worth individuals emerges, and they are so different from their predecessors. How might we make private banking services more attractive and relevant to a new generation of ultra high net worth individuals by demonstrating a deeper understanding of their needs and the importance of their trusted networks? A private banking service that's more personalized and enables clients to not only grow their wealth, but use it to create real impact. Let's meet James, a young ultra-high net worth individual who, after 5 arduous and precarious years creating a digital marketing business, has sold the company for over $400 million. And in the near future, he's also about to take over the family business from his father, Jack. The private equity firm who helped put together the deal suggests that James meets up with a private banker they've done business with before. And James checks this out with friends from his MBA program a decade ago. They give him some more options, but confirm this is a good choice. At first, James was really anxious. He didn't have a clear idea of what his lifelong plan and goals might be, never having dared dream that the deal that was in the offing for so long might actually come off. But after meeting and interviewing the private bankers, he chooses the team. He feels that his private banker, Richard, who has worked for his father for over 10 years, really understands him. He talks to James about his personal interests, status, aspirations, and life goals. Richard introduces the service Mobius to James. James goes straight to the dashboard and can see a family tree of his family members who are already clients. He can explore each of the family members and see their different investment personalities and compare them with his own. Everyone can choose how much to share with the others. It's always on their terms. Mobius is helping intergenerational wealth management and family governance and delivering an expert and empathic wealth service. Let's start the family business journey. On the status page, Mobius clearly showcases the comparison of the business performance and the ups and downs over time. James can check his current position and exercise personal control for self-directed wealth management by choosing discretionary services. James knows that there are many differences between him and his father. He is eager to show his own impact on the world, but at the same time, he also hopes to draw lessons from his father's experience and expertise. The data of the family radar is based on investments, their performance, and the applications of funds over a period of time, so James can observe from the diagram the different investment preferences, strategies, and channels of his family, and compare those with his own, subject to what each family member wishes to share. James can better communicate with his family members and Richard. This also enables Richard to examine common as well as different goals within the family and recommend the most effective strategies to achieve these goals. Also, James is happy that his son Harry is not excluded because he is too young. There is a personalised programme by age for Harry that is aiming to help him to develop financial knowledge easily from an early age. As a parent, James can see his children's financial learning progress and can choose the programmes he wants them to learn about, including virtual money practice and decision making. James is able to access Harry's virtual space, see how Harry positions himself within the family, and even Harry's dream career, the preservation of polar bears and creating a sustainable theme park business. James is proud of his son's ambition and understanding of finance. He believes that parents can better educate their children to take responsibility of money across generations. James has become a tremendous advocate of the bank, its intensely personal service and the integrated solution for family governance, and all being delivered on James's terms. He's in control.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to us, and reach us out with any questions later. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ginny. Thank you very much, Jade. We'll be giving everyone access to individual Zoom rooms to follow up on all these projects round about 7 o'clock or so when we wind up the event today. Great. So our final presentation today is Purchase Power with Tammy Tang and Shanshan Liu and Binhai Wang. Are you all there? Are you able to
I'm here.
come onto the stage?
Hello,
Great.
Clive.
Hi, Tammy. Hi. Fantastic.
Hi, Clive.
Okay, well, when you're ready, off you go.
Yeah, we are ready.
Good.
Hi, good morning. Good evening, everyone. We are Binhai, Shanshan, and Tammy here. Our project is Purchase Power, an intelligent money assistant that improves the young professionals' affordability. So if we go to the next page, is a brief of our background. Sorry, Clive, next page, please. Thank you. So just a quick brief, because our project is about the customer experience in the regulation-led innovation, which is open banking. So open banking is a regulation launched about like 2.5 years ago in the UK, which allows the users different bank accounts to be integrated into one platform with the capabilities of sharing financial data in seconds. We aim to define the opportunities for nurture innovation in digital banking that improve people's financial well-being with a commitment to personal data ownership. So next page, we will, So from our research on young professionals' financial pressure, we found that the low financial literacy, thin credit profile, and invisible spending leads to the uncleared purchase power, which is affordability. And in the long run, it will affect the loan eligibility as well. So actually, that's not it's quite a common issue in the UK. So if we go to the next page, we can see, so 1/3 of workers in the UK run out of money before payday, and then 2/3 of the loan applications cannot get loan, or they can get a higher rate than what they should pay. Next page, we're going to move to Shanshan.
So talk about this financial risk. There are 3 main types of users. Michael is planning to buy a car, but due to his bad spending behavior, his credit score is quite low and his credit profile is thin, which leads to a higher car loan interest rate than his actual affordability. So his challenge are poor credit product exclusion, and need to prepare for loan. And the last one is Cheryl. She just got her second job in London. She always overspending. She says that I want to buy a new clothes when I'm in high street. She's challenge is unclear about her affordability, and she need to budget her money better than before. Ethan is thinking about applying for a mortgage. He doesn't know how much he could afford and what is the best interest rate he could get. And he do not know how to prepare for the mortgage. So his financial goal is prepare for the mortgage and build up his credit score. And how can the purchase power help those young people to achieve their financial goal? For Michael, the purchase power have the function for affordability calculation that can help him clear about how much he could apply for the loan now. From the page, you can see that
we tell him what is the maximum loan limit that he can comfortably afford. Therefore, he can understand his maximum budget and can make the decision based on that. A loan deal package compare is a lot of function to help user get the best loan in the future. If he wants to apply for car loan, he can check what loans he could apply now. If he can not receive a good loan deal now, and he could comfortably receive a better deal in the future by shaping his financial behavior during this 3 months time. The app also, next page. The app also provides advice to help him build up his credit profile and increase his disposable income to get a better loan. On the right, you can say customized advice is given to him. For example, Michael should spend money on a credit card instead of debit card, and he should spend £300 less monthly to increase his disposable income. We also have other functions to help him save money and increase his credit score. In the end, by following the advice, he manages to receive the loan deal he wants and buy a Mini Cooper in the end, which is suitable for his financial profile, and he repaid the car loan without high financial pressure. Finally, he has a happy life with his Mini Cooper.
And this app can also predict upcoming fees and spending period based on personal finance data like overall balance, purchasing history, and spending pattern. With this function, users can understand if they're able to afford a loan or big purchases, so that users can always spend money within the budget. Next, please. Besides, after having a clear understanding of their affordability, users can get targeted suggestions to improve their credit level. Next, please. Also, users can set overdraft alarm to prevent them wasting their credit score. Next, please. So in conclusion, this app will help users build up credit score and get a better loan deal by analyzing spending pattern and clearing affordability. Next.
So purchase power not only works as an affordability calculator, but also it provides the onboarding application service that link those borrowers and production office. Send the applications enriched financial data in the document format or via API to further analyze the information for that production office, so the officers can better process their work with their internal lender or their own product team. The credit decision can be made and presented to the borrower in no time. Next page, please. So we interviewed some related experts and then get like their feedback, saying it's a very convincing approach to achieve the meaningful purpose by first one, demonstrate the transparency of loan production for both sides, visualize the personal financial goal and help financial institutions know their customer better, and also helping people increase credit score and affordability for credit products and keep a stable level of new customer acquisition for financial institutions and ensure a good assessment level of borrowers. Next page, we also get some feedbacks from the interviewees, our target customer. Next page, please. Thank you. So our target customer agreed that more or less they could change their financial behaviors by spending less, building up their credit score, or prepare for their financial goal that reduce their financial pressure and be more confident to the future. That is our concept. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Thank you, Shan. Thank you, and hi. So let's come out of screen share if I can. There, I can. So there you have it. We have 5 amazing projects. Just to remind you, we started off with a Lab Y and financial education for 5 to 12-year-olds. We heard from Kyle McDonald's Green Investment Club. We heard from Tina's Money Buddy, working with people with mental health issues. We heard from Mobius, from Ginny and Jade, looking at the new generation of private bank. And finally, we've heard from Purchase Power, helping people really control and using open banking to get a better feel for what they're doing. 5, I think, really different takes on financial services. Martin, I'm going to come back to you, and I'd love to hear your comments on what you've seen there.
Well, I mean, you're right, Clive, that I had a sneaky peek before coming on tonight and was a little bit prepared, as you heard in my opening comments, because I genuinely do believe that what we've got in this range of 5 projects is a really nice spread across the system and where we can have impact in the system. So everything from starting right at the beginning with financial education at the youngest possible stage. And this is a really interesting area that people haven't necessarily cracked yet. And so there are some fintech startup services in this space, but it's a really important place to try and get into. What you'll find in a lot of the high street banks, ourselves included, is doing a lot of campaigns within schools trying to educate kids by coming into the schools and taking part in their curriculum. But actually it's this relationship between the parents and the kids, and what we know about money and how to behave emotionally around money is learned in the home. It's learned from the people that are around us and how they deal with things as well. So actually, in these situations, we've got a lot for the parents to learn about as well. So I really love the fact that this is a physical product as well as a digital product, because physical products tend to be something you can get around together and start to explore together. And there was something there for the parents and something there for the children as well, before you move to that kind of digital moment, which actually is just me and the device. I thought that was really important and really good to hear. When we think about Kyle, I mean, awesome ambition here, and I mean that in a positive sense. I'm just thinking about that 4 trillion transfer, and I think you said something about, this audience, are willing to put about 32% of their money in that way, and I'm working out how much of that transfer they actually have access to be able to work with is one thing. But I think the figures are something like it's going to take 90 trillion of investment to be able to achieve across the globe, to be able to achieve the goals that we want ecologically. So them being able to unlock, 1 trillion of that, that's what's available there. You're really getting to the point of actually, it's a systemic impact, right? So I heard for general members of the public that actually one of the sustainability consultants I know, who's a fellow of the RSA, said that as individuals, probably if we could all get together, the best thing we could all do is switch where our pensions are being invested in, because that actually has a systemic impact going on. So if as an individual you could, over your lifespan, change where all of your money from a pensions investment goes, then you would have more impact than you might do. This is not a very popular message, by taking out the trash into a recycling bin and buying a Tesla, even if you could afford one. And that's about the power of the system, which is what I just really liked about seeing from that, Kyle. And I used the word privileged in introducing it because these are very privileged people, but it's great that they also have purpose that they want to act on, which is fantastic. So I really, really enjoyed that. Then Money Buddy. I absolutely admit something very close to my heart in terms of some of the explorations that I know my colleagues are doing inside the bank. That link between understanding how we are and how we make decisions is absolutely impacted by our current mental state, and we will all experience a mental health vulnerability at some point in time in our lives in one way or another, due to the general stresses of life or due to very specific events. The ability to be able to have the right conversation at the right time, considering that about your finances in relation to what's going on in your life right now, I think is one of the most important things that we can do for individuals. And so I thought that was a really beautiful concept to be coming up with, and a very practical, very real one. I think there's loads of challenges in that about how to use the data responsibly and ethically, and how to start that conversation with people. But given that it's a service articulated in that way, I'm assuming that we're going to get some kind of permission to engage with people in that way, which I think will be absolutely fantastic. And then Mobius, intergenerational. This is, something that I think is a part of societal change. We've been recognizing for a while in the financial services industry that parents are involved in the purchase of future homes for the next generation, where that wealth and asset exists to be able to do that. But there is now this relationship where it is between generations, that we're operating much more as family units now. And actually, COVID has accelerated that for many people who have, children who are, between the ages of 15 and 30, coming back into a home environment, and parents find themselves that way. And then we've got the dependency later on in life as well. So this idea of anything intergenerational, I think, is really interesting to be able to allow that to be easier flow for families. This particular one focused on high net worth individuals, which is great. Because actually there's a very real connection between the business outcome there for the private bank and a very real need for that segment of people. And then purchase power, excellent nudges about what I can do to make a small little difference that actually builds up, because actually my life and my life moments is a system that builds up. And actions now can have really great consequences later on if I do the right behaviors now. And yeah, the credit score is a part of the system that works in financial services for people, and sometimes not for people, if they don't know how to make sure that it reflects their true their true capability and possibility in financial. So I thought, you really managed to hit across the whole of the system that is financial services, and I just applaud you all for that. And for taking the time to find the right people to understand how these services might be consumed, where the holes in them are, how they might be reacted to. And there's a lot of demonstration of understanding of the system in your service that you're providing here. So I really applaud that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Fantastic words, and I think some fantastic projects. I'm going to wind up. We're going to try and finish at 7 tonight, partly because we're all exhausted, and I think everyone's zoomed out. But one thing I do want to point out, and I really encourage you, please, to click on the link you see in the chat box from Francesca Ferrari. There is a link to every single student's Zoom room. If you at least click on that, then you will have that record on your browser and you can go. You won't find that page on the website. It's a secret page for people who attend these events. And it's your doorbell into the students' room. I would love it, and the students would love it, if you would go and talk to somebody before you leave us tonight. Just go and have a 5-10 minute chat with some of these students. I think it's incredibly important in this time of COVID as we emerge from the pandemic. It's not been easy for these kids, and I think we must make sure we don't lose them. When I arrived at the course, let's stop sharing because that's not what I wanted to share. Let's try that again. It was obviously a very different time. But the first thing I asked the students was to create a brand, actually, to create a definition of what the ethos of the course is. And we came up with these words that we then developed into a visual language, a set of diagrams and icons. And I think they are so important and represent what these students have brought to this time, actually. They're curious and courageous, of course. You couldn't be a service designer if you weren't, and neither would you be a service designer if you were not collaborative. They've been incredibly collaborative with our amazing partners, but they're dynamic, they're innovative, and they're here to transform. They are not here to leave alone. They're here to look, reframe, design, and recreate. They're incredibly human-centered. They're about people, but increasingly they're about the system that we live in, the planet, and how those two things fit together, with man not necessarily always at the center. and they have a sense of purpose. I think you've got that from the projects you've seen. We got it from the projects we saw last night, and would get it from the projects we'll see tomorrow and all of next week. A tremendous sense of purpose, sense of change. There are a bunch of events coming up. On Thursday, we have a Where Next seminar. Tomorrow night, we'll be looking at health, and then next week on living well, and next week we'll have another 3 project showcases, and you can find them all on our fabulous site, rcaservicedesign.com. It's been an incredible year, of course. I'm so proud of everything they've done, and the feedback we've had on our projects has been incredible. They kept going. They could have quit, but they didn't. They kept going. They found new ways to talk to customers and users. They found new ways to have relationships with partners, and they've created some fantastic projects. This is what they looked like 2 years ago when they first arrived, and now they're ready to go into the world. So I would just love you. This is not the link. This is an example of the link to go to that page that I've just see if I can come out of sharing. We're having an awful lot of problems tonight, I'm afraid, with our technology, and it appears to have stuck. So, oh no, I don't want to do that.
Clive, while you're working that out, can I
Yes.
just reinforce, while Clive's working that out,
Please
just
do.
reinforce that last week I went into a couple of the rooms from the preview show, and it's really great to be able to get into the room with the students, talk to them about how they did this as much as what they've done. The insight that everybody on this service design course has into method, into the fundamentals of design and service design is something that I think we can all learn from. So not just what is the idea like, what is the service concept, but also how they went about it and what they learned while they're on the course. I think there's tons to learn for us as people who are no longer at that stage of academic study. So I encourage you to get in there and chat with them.
Thank you so much. As you can see, I'm totally stuck. My keynote won't come out. So I'm very sorry about that. I hope that you can see the chat link that I was talking about. We're going to close down this call now. So a final big thank you to Martin for a fantastic set of thinking, as I say, an inspiration to us all, about how to be designers, and some great thoughts about the future of finance. I'm very grateful to that. Thank you to our 5 project presenting teams tonight. I hope you found it really, really interesting. And please, if you could spend 5-10 minutes going and speaking to some students, it will make their day, and it'll make all our day. And if you don't do it now, keep that information and make an appointment with them on Calendly, and go and see them another time. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see another audience tomorrow night.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Martin, thank you, Clive.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.